Right, we've got the juices, all the residues out in the bucket up here. That won't go to waste. We'll scatter that down there for the birds. The blackbirds love those, so that's not wasted. We start off by getting the yeast going. So for each gallon we need 1 teaspoonful of yeast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 5 gallon. And we add similar sugar. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And with that we put some nice cool boiled water in there. Not too hot, not too hot. We'll get a little bit more of that. We'll add a little bit more into there. And then we'll stir it. That will get a nice froth on. While we're putting all the other ingredients in, that will set off the yeast. A little bit of sugar in. Some people put the juice in instead of warm water, but I like to, because that's cold, I like to put warm water and it sets it off easier. So we'll move that out of the way. That's the yeast. That's an expensive part of it, but whatever. We'll leave that there like that to ferment. Right, the next thing is we put in, just clean the spoon, we put in yeast nutrient. Again, 1 teaspoonful for each gallon, so that's 5. This helps to ensure the rapid and complete fermentation, so that helps it. It just assists the yeast. So we put that in, 5 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, that's the yeast nutrient. Finished with that. The similar 5 of citric acid. Now this gives it a little bit of a bite. Each teaspoon is the equivalent to 1 lemon. So that's nice. That's gives it that little bit of bite. It's like a substitute for 5. A substitute for citrus. So we've finished with that. That's that. Now then we go to the sugar, which will be turned into alcohol. Do this gently. We're putting in 5 kilos of sugar. Hopefully it won't come over the top. Get rid of that one. Put this one in. We're getting very close to the top here. Hope I haven't overdone it. And that's 5 kilos of sugar. We've had a good stir with our trusty plastic spoon. And we get that really, we've got to dissolve the sugar as much as we can into the juice, because we're going to take what's known as a specific gravity reading with a hydrometer. Now we do that so that it gives us a reading, and we'll know at the end of the process the level of alcohol, what they call the ABV, which is alcohol by volume. You'll see that on wine bottles that you buy in the supermarket. So we really get that stirring up. I can hear the sugar still in the bottom there, so we have to take our time and do that quite well. That might be enough. A bit more there. Right, that's that. The yeast is bubbling away nicely. We now go to this is an important part of it. We get the jug and we take out some of the juice. We'll pop it on there. Now this is a hydrometer. What it does, it measures the actual specific gravity of the liquid. And whatever the reading is, which should come down to around 1.1 or 1.090, that will give you the alcohol content when it's reached back up to the 1000 mark. It sounds complicated, but it's not. When you buy one of these, the instructions are usually with it. So what we'll do is we'll pop that into there, nice and gentle. Doesn't matter if it comes over the top because you need the good reading. Alright, this will come over the top, don't worry about that, it's in a dish. Okay, the reading is, oh that's good, that means it's going to be very strong. That reading is 1.110 and we then mark that into the book. We mark that into the book. I've lost the pen somewhere, excuse me a minute. There's the pen. 1.110, we mark that in the book here. Blackberry 40, there is it, Blackberry 40. I'll just enter that, we'll mark that as 1.110. We've added our pack delays, we've got the fermentation reading, the start. We've put in 5 kilos of sugar. It's 5 gallons, 8 pounds of blackberries. So that's as far as we can go with that. So what we do now is we pour this back in, like that. Pour that back in there. Pour this back in here. Oh, spilling a bit, isn't it? Pour that back in. Not coming over the top, thankfully. And pour that in. Lovely. And then we get this frothy coffee in. That looks like a cappuccino. So we put that in there. We leave it on the top. It's a good froth, that is. That's your yeast and sugar mix. I'll wash that out. It's quite a froth, that is. Wash that out there. We don't stir that in. We leave that on the top. It likes to be on the top there, so that's fine. We'll put that away. Just wash my hand, wipe my hands with a towel there. Yeah, and what we do now is put the lid on. Our Blackberry 40, seal it very tight like that, and then we put it to where the heat is. Now I use electric blankets. I do that because it's cheaper than having the heating on all the time. Because it has to stay on 24/7. So the electric blankets make it a lot cheaper than your heating. Now I've got a friend, Lynn, and she's picked me up 2 of these blankets for less than 10 quid. And that was on Marketplace, on your Facebook page, your local marketplace. Again, second hand, less than 10 quid for 2. So good old Lynn. Now the temperature, we've got the temperature here. It is 23 degrees centigrade, which is about 72 Fahrenheit. Now it stays at that now for 2 weeks. It could be 3 with this because it's a very high specific gravity on there. It's a very high reading. So we'll have to see how we go on. We leave that for 2 weeks and then we come back to it and see how we're going from there. Right.